guys, in this month's Disney Rewind, we're going to be talking about the live-action reboot of Dumbo. So, joining us today on our review/discussion of Dumbo, we have our plushie versions of Dumbo. And they're so cute. Anyway, guys, before we head into this discussion of Dumbo, we're just going to be talking about the movie. Some spoilers might pop up. I mean, we were talking about it, if this should be spoiler-free or there should be spoilers, and we were kind of talking that there's nothing really to spoil, I suppose. It's kind of one of those types of movies. There's not really much to spoil anyway. I mean, if you've seen the original cartoon, I think you're going to figure out what the ending is, you know? It's going to have a happy ending. So yeah, I mean, kind of watch this as you wish, you know, how comfortable you feel watching this video. But yeah, we're just going to be talking about the movie generally, and maybe some things might pop up. But yeah, there's nothing really to spoil. So yeah, the live-action reboot of Dumbo, directed by Tim Burton, starring Colin Farrell, Ava Green, Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito. There's a lot of people in this movie. It's pretty great. Stephanie, overall thoughts and feelings about Dumbo?
Dumbo was adorable and it ended up having a good storyline, because that was one of the things we were worried about, was like, what kind of storyline will they have, because it's Dumbo.
Yeah, because the original cartoon, it's, you know, mostly just Dumbo at the circus. That's kind of it. And yeah, I mean, prior to the movie coming out, we were sitting and talking about there needs to be much more to the story than just kind of what was in the cartoon, because Dumbo can't talk. You know, Dumbo can't talk, so there has to be something more. And yeah, there's like a heavy human influence and human story to it, which ties in nicely to Dumbo, you know?
I was going to say, not only is it about Dumbo learning to fly, it's also about Colin Farrell's character letting his children learn to fly.
That's true. Well, you know, a lot of characters, like, I think every character having a disability of some sort, maybe not a physical disability, but like, you know, Dumbo has his disability of his ears, but they come in handy. They teach him how to fly, and that's how he's, you know, able to kind of use his ears and whatnot. Yeah, Colin Farrell's physical disability, that he's missing a limb from the war, which I wish they had touched on that a little bit more. It's like he kind of comes home and that's it. I was expecting there'd be a bit more PTSD possibly with him going on. It's like he has his momentary outbursts of anger with his children, but it's just kind of minimal. It's like I wish they explored that.
That's mainly probably because he's been gone, and now he comes back and he's not got.
And he don't know his children that well.
The wife.
Yeah, he don't have his wife. Yeah, he don't have his wife. Is it supposed to be he was gone when his wife died?
Yeah, he was still like out in the war.
So yeah, Dumbo's ears, Colin Farrell's arm. I mean, even the little girl. What's her name? Millie. They call her Millie. I mean, even the little girl Millie, her disability being a woman. Because there was all those references, because she wanted to be a female scientist and everything, and plus she was a little girl, so her disability of being a little girl, and you know, they didn't really do much with the little boy at all. I feel
it was mainly the girl's story.
Yeah,
the brother was there to help out.
Yeah, the little boy, Colin Farrell's son, I feel like he didn't really provide much to the story. Unfortunately, he was kind of there just to be dress setting, I suppose. I wish they'd done more with that too. But yeah, Dumbo was freaking adorable, you guys. Probably the most cutest movie in the world. How'd you feel about Tim Burton's directing?
Well, I kind of actually forgot it was directed by Tim Burton. By the time we finally went and saw it, then I was like, I don't remember that part. Thank God it was much different than some of his other things, because that was another thing I was worried about, was Tim Burton's. Like, I like Tim Burton directing stuff, but his style is bizarre.
Yeah.
And I was worried, like, going into Dumbo, that it was going to reflect too much and be a little too weird.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was normal. But he was still able to incorporate, like, weird things, but it fit.
It fit, yeah.
Like, the whole ending with some of the performers dressed up as, like, creatures that were already there at the park, and you thought that was them. They still did like these weird aspects of things, but they fit. They weren't like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like Tim Burton's directing in this. Definitely a much tamer, calmer directing style of Tim Burton. I mean, the good thing is, if you are familiar with Tim Burton, you can definitely recognize his style and his influence in there. Just the coloring,
But yeah, it was dark, but it was like a bright dark, colorful dark.
Yeah, he has just a particular look and style, and you know that you're watching a Tim Burton movie, and yeah, that was definitely in there. Yeah, just not like crazy, not like over crazy like sometimes his movies can be. So yeah, just there's subtle hints of Tim Burton in there that it's like you're watching a Tim Burton movie. You can appreciate that.
It wasn't like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Crazy.
Or Alice in Wonderland crazy. And yet, because you know how Tim Burton, he always loves to do the dramatic eye makeup on people. He loves doing the dramatic eye makeup, and there was none of that in this movie. That's how you know you're watching a Tim Burton movie, because he always has that sunken skeletal look on all of his characters. And yeah, people look normal in this.
And if they don't, it's just because they're circus performers.
Yeah. So. How do we feel about all the extra circus people?
They were good. They provided good background support. Because they did, the main ones came in handy in the end. Everybody had their role to play in helping Dumbo.
Yep. Yeah. I liked everybody too. Mermaid, the one scene with the mermaid.
I like the strong dude.
Yeah, I like the mermaid, because I think they tended to focus on the mermaid and the strong man the most. And then that one married couple, I guess they were maybe an illusion team, possibly, magic tricks. Oh, we haven't even really talked about the CG. How about the CG for Dumbo?
Oh, that was really good. Yeah.
Dumbo. He looked like an elephant.
He looked real.
Yeah, he looked like a real elf. Minus the big large ears.
The flying looked good.
Oh yeah.
It didn't look you can tell that they made a CGI Dumbo and then pasted it into this and stuff. It looked natural. And then even when somebody was on Dumbo, sometimes that looks really weird when somebody's on top of a CG thing. And it actually looked natural. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the effects for Dumbo were really... He looked like an elephant. I think he was overly adorable. Is that possible? He was overly adorable. Just the littlest things he would do, I'd be like, oh... And yeah, we were even talking about why did he always look so sad? They always did a great job with his, even though he's a character that can't talk, they did a great job with his eyes and just little movements, little movements he would do, and you could tell if he was happy or sad or upset, just little things, little sounds he would make, eye movements, even his trunk, you could tell how he was feeling. It's that's important with the CG, that you can, he can't talk. You need to make sure you're conveying what he's feeling to the audience. No Timothy.
I mean, that didn't bother me.
I was still hoping that they would say, hey, Timothy, because, the little girl, she had the mice, and I just kept waiting for her to be like, hey, Timothy, come here. Because there was one mouse that was a little bit bigger than the others. So, no Timothy. So, yeah, if you're wanting Timothy on top of Dumbo, on his head, flying around, you're not going to get it. Dash that from your dreams.
Oh, what I started thinking about was Dumbo intook a lot of feathers, and I was worried about his health.
Yeah, that's a big part of the movie.
I was worried he might have a feather hairball or something, because he took in a lot of feathers.
That's a big part of the movie, because in order for Dumbo to believe that he's flying, he inhales all these feathers. It's like, where are the feathers going? Poor Dumbo is gonna die of asphyxiation or something from feathers.
They would cut Dumbo open and be like, my God, what are all these feathers?
Oh my goodness. And I like that whole, that's part of one of the big messages of the movie is, he believes he has to rely on this feather to do his great acts of flying, but he doesn't. It's a big emotional ending. The little girl's sort of telling him, Dumbo, believe in yourself. You don't need the feather to fly. And because
she had a key.
Yeah, she herself had a key from her mother before her mother died, and her mother kind of telling her she can do anything that she put her mind to. And yeah, to prove to Dumbo, hey, you can do anything. As she tosses her key away, kind of saying, hey, I can do anything I want to do too. So yeah, a nice, beautiful message, Dumbo. Let's see. We've not talked about Ava Green. My girl crush Ava Green. love Ava Green, you guys. You know, there was no romance in this movie, but by the end of the movie, I was like, I hope Ava Green and Colin Farrell, I hope they get together and raise his kids together and they're in the circus. Which I think we're led to believe.
I think they were.
Yeah, I think we were led to believe they got together by the end of the movie, but it was never explicitly said.
The only weird thing was like that she like flip-flopped easily over to the side of Dumbo. For her being like, she seemed like a really stuck-up circus performer.
Spoiled, well-pampered
Yeah.
circus performer because I guess because Michael Keaton was her boss, but also her boyfriend. Yeah.
But yes, I mean, we were pressed for time, but you know, still, it did seem like she was just all of a sudden like, I love Dumbo, and
I'm Team Dumbo.
I'm Team Dumbo. Let's not hurt Dumbo.
Yeah, I thought she was going to be a bit villainous at first, but yeah, she does kind of flip there. But yeah, Michael Keaton starts being a jackass, and yeah, I think she don't like that because Dumbo's precious. Everybody loves Dumbo except for Michael Keaton. Yeah, I loved Ava Green in this. She just looks so pretty. She's always so pretty. I liked her little costumes and her little kind of flapper hairdo. You know, I'm guessing this was, you know, because the circus was falling on hard times. The war had just ended. We're pretty much going into the Great Depression, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what was kind of happening with the circus, with my Danny DeVito's circus in particular. Just things going to hell on him. Michael Keaton, how we feel about Michael Keaton?
He was a jerk.
He was a jackass. I loved him though. He was great though. I liked seeing a different Michael Keaton. You know,
he's like all crazy and flamboyant and
shit. Yeah. He just looked different than he typically looks in a lot of movies. And a fun tidbit that it kind of occurred to me halfway through the movie because Tim Burton directed one of the Batmans with Michael Keaton, right?
Oh,
he directed that one with him and Danny DeVito because Danny DeVito was the Penguin, right?
Yeah.
He directed that one, right? It was Michael Keaton and the Penguin. It wasn't Val Kilmer and Danny DeVito, was it?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with my Batmans.
Yeah. Well, either way, I got the biggest kick. If my
at least they were in the same universe.
Yeah. If my film knowledge is correct, Tim Burton directed one of those Batmans with Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito. So hopefully I got that right. I should have got on IMDb. But yeah, I like that. It kind of occurred to me. I was like, huh. You're speaking of Michael Keaton. His circus was like over the top, like crazy Disney or something.
Yeah, they like did that on purpose.
Yeah, because it was making me think of like Tomorrowland.
Yeah. You
know, Tomorrowland and you know at Disney World, Florida or whatever. With the innovation and the science and technology and whatnot. It was like a crazy high-tech circus, you know, and poor Danny DeVito just had a classic circus and whatnot. But I kind of liked how that ended, though, with the circuses, because Michael Keaton's grand, epic, over-the-top circus is it's in ruins. You know, even though he was making tons of money, the thing is, it's in pieces by the very end. And then, yeah, it just ends with your typical classic circus, you know, which we don't have anymore. We don't have circuses anymore. So it's kind of a bit nostalgic there at the very end, you know, like, oh, the way circuses used to be, and we don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
I know we already talked about Colin Farrell, but I just gotta add, he was looking fine. He was looking particularly fine in this movie.
That accent didn't even bother me. At first it did, but then like I fell into it naturally. I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, usually it's exactly.
He's usually very good about doing an American accent, though. Just depends on what region of America he's trying to do sometimes. But yeah, Colin Farrell looking very fine, even with a missing arm. I loved him in that uniform when he came in at the very beginning.
Just the beginning?
Yeah, just the beginning. He was wearing the military uniform at the beginning. You know, something at our theater, I didn't realize this until we kind of stood up and were leaving the theater. There were tons of little kids in our theater who had their little plushy Dumbos. And I didn't see this, but Stephanie said that she saw some kids like waving their Dumbos.
Yeah, whenever Dumbo would fly, they'd be
Yeah, why did I see this? I didn't see this at all, but somehow everyone else did.
It was like distracting. I'm trying to look at Dumbo, but I can't help but look at that.
If I'd known that plushy Dumbos were allowed at the theater, I would have brought mine.
And then all the kids would be like, dang, yours looks old.
Yeah, mine is like super old and cruddy. And you know, this still looks pretty good. It's just a little burnt in places. Is that it for our discussion of Dumbo? Yeah. I guess. I feel like we're just kind of rambling here. I mean, yeah, overall, a really good movie. Good directing from Tim Burton. A good story. The story wasn't like wild and crazy and didn't really do much of anything new, I suppose, but it did kind of flesh out the world of Dumbo and provide some extra characters that, you know, aren't in the original cartoon, and took out some of the more horrid parts of the cartoon, like those crows. And yeah, the drug sequence is not a drug sequence in this. It's just Dumbo kind of getting a little happy about something. Like, oh, look at the bubbles. But yeah,
Yes, bubbles.
yeah, no racist crows, no drug references or alcohol abuse. So yeah, this is definitely a much kid-friendlier version of Dumbo. Very sweet, very adorable. Take your kids to it. I think they'll like it. Any final thoughts, Stephanie?
No.
No final thoughts? 2 thumbs up?
Yeah.
Or 4 thumbs up? And thumbs up from Dumbo. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, enough rambling. So guys, that's it for this review discussion of the 2019 reboot of Disney's Dumbo. In the comments below, have you guys seen this live action version of Dumbo? Do you plan on seeing it? And if you have seen it, let us know your thoughts and feelings about it. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think things could have been improved, enhanced on? Just let us know. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.